So a tint is a color mixed with white, and when you start that, some of you really wanted to have a greater amount of white before you got the requirements for the actual painting. You wanted a lot of white, and you can't use very much. And then the sculptures, you're not allowed to just pour any of these colors out of the bottle and use them directly on your sculpture. You have to alter them somehow. So you're going to want to be able to have like an extreme tint. So think about, this is like frosting, and this is food coloring. So I took the tiniest amount of blue, and I started to incorporate it, mixing it into the white. Putting these together visually, looking at them, can you see a difference? It's subtle, right? Barely. So I can use as much of this in my painting as I want because I changed it. I could use as much of that on my sculpture as I want because I changed it. So if I go to paint this against this paper, and if you have learned anything from doing this painting, the paints seem to dry a little lighter than when you put them on. So this will even appear lighter. Now I can take the plain white on this end and incorporate it and use some of that pure white because I did say it's okay too. So there's a slight difference there. Some of you maybe really want to have something with a lot less white. So I could have this. This is also a tint of blue. So any combination of the white and the color is a tint. You can use all of those. You just can't add white to a completely different color. Put that down, please. Moving on to the shade, the black is a really dark color. So I suggest adding black to the pigment, black to the color. And when you mix this up and there's a greater amount of paint, it might actually look black. If you spread this out and have white showing through, you'll see a little bit of the color. On paper, it's pretty dark. So if you had a sky where you wanted it to look like it's a black sky, then use one of the darker values. Maybe it's blue and black, maybe it's blue violet and black. But it's a shade and it has more richness and depth to the piece. And I could use less black, but this will look more like a navy color. So when you mix up a tone, remember a tone is color mixed with gray, and gray is black and white. So you need to actually mix up the values of gray. So I'm going to wipe this out so I really have kind of a place to mix. And you know from the drawing unit that there's different values of gray, like light, medium, and dark. So if you start with those different values, then you can go ahead and incorporate the color. And so from the tone sheet that we've gone over, we have the light gray, the medium gray, and the dark gray. So if I'm going to do a skin tone, I'm going to choose red-orange. This is light gray, this is medium gray, this is dark gray, with a little tiny bit of that color in. So check with me if you're struggling with the mixing of it, and that's one of the reasons I want you to use this red brush, because it holds less paint. So then I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of blue in there. That counts as a tone. It changed it slightly. So this is a bluish gray, or a tone of blue. This almost looks like a sky blue, but you know that it's a little bit more dusty looking than this one. Okay, I can actually add a little bit more black and white to this, a little bit more blue, but you can see how it changes. So I can add some dark, some blue to these different values. Anytime there's color in it, they're still tones, but they seem a little bit more dull than if you just mixed it with white. Okay, if you do mix up a tone and you don't like the color, and that's what your plan was, well, you know, life's great, plans change. So go ahead and figure out the color that you do want, but you may want to clean your palette off because it does kind of get full. And you do not have to do a tint, a shade, and tone of the same color.